Hey everybody. So I'm just making the walk to the end of the street here to pick up my little boy from school. The school bus should get here in about, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. Uh, I was gonna, sit down and make a nice, somewhat professional video explaining what's about to happen, and I figured this was just easier, less effort, and the same message will come across. I even debated on writing a script on what I was gonna say, but that's never really been my style. So I think we're just gonna go with the standard stream of consciousness approach, and just kind of say what's on my mind here. Uh, I'm gonna leave the modding scene. After my dad got cancer last month, or rather, my dad was diagnosed last month. The doctors say he's probably had it for about a year. My priorities kind of got realigned, and I haven't really touched anything mod wise in about a couple of months now. And while my dad having cancer has been a source of stress and worry, the lack of activity from me in the modding scene has actually it's actually been nice. And I kind of realized that honestly my life is, there's less stress in my life when I'm not dealing with all the stupid drama that happens. And I'm 32 years old. On December 16th I'll be 33. I'm too old to be putting up with kitty BS all the time. I've kind of had enough of it. I've had enough of how, yes, I'm sure it's a vocal minority, but I'm sick of some of the entitlement that gets spewed everywhere. And for me, this was always a hobby. This was always something that I did for myself, to have fun, and the enjoyment of creating something cool and getting to see that played back in a game in real time. It was a lot of fun. But it has stopped being fun. And at that point, why am I still going? If the main reason why I started doing modding in the first place no longer holds true, then what's the point? If I'm no longer getting enjoyment out of it, what's the point? So, it's happened to me multiple times now where I come up with a concept, I start working on it, and the concept gets stolen out from under my feet and released by another modder. There have been at least 2, possibly 3 mod projects that I started that have been stolen from me. And the mod project I was working on never got released because someone else basically ripped it off. Yeah. And, after a while, that crap gets really old. I've had friends stab me in the back. One thing I can say, there's been a core group of people who have been my friends since I joined the scene, who are still my friends. And those guys I want to call out and say thank you to. That would be my friend, I'll just use their internet handles and not their real names. Marty McFly, been a real good friend to me, taught me a lot. The same with King Eric, 1992, a really good friend of mine, and he's really helped me a lot. And no matter what happens here concerning me and what I'm going to do in the modding community, which for all intents and purposes, this is me sort of retiring from it. We're still going to remain friends. I'm not disappearing off the internet. I'm no longer going to be actively participating in the modding community. I thought this would be a hard video to make, but it's really not. Truthfully, ever since my dad was diagnosed with cancer, the issue wasn't, wondering whether or not I would continue. The issue for me was I really prepared to actually make it official that I wasn't coming back? I like the idea of coming back, but last night sitting down, just playing Red Dead Redemption 2, something I've not done in probably years is just sit down and play a single player campaign game and not worry about anything. Literally just mindlessly play. And between that and watching movies, I sat there and I thought to myself, I was like, do I want to come back? Do I want to continue? And the answer was no. It just was, no, I don't want to. This time last year, there was a core group of us who were, in the early planning stages. Oh, here comes a stupid dog. Stay on your porch or I will kick you in the nose. Anyway, there were a small group of us. We were in the early planning stages of a sequel to Pilgrim's Dread: The Commonwealth. And when we released the announcement trailer for that, things were looking great. We had a lot of E&B code done. The E&B for Pilgrim 2 was looking awesome. There was, and still is in that E&B, what exists of that code. Some really impressive and really original features that haven't been seen before. Certainly in terms of the really novel preset system. And, maybe I'll release just the E&B as like a farewell gift. I don't know. At this point, I honestly don't want to do anything. Not modding has been so utterly stress-free that it's been nice. But yeah, about a year ago when we made that announcement, things were looking great. And then gradually throughout the year, we started losing team members. It wasn't due to drama. Sorry, there's a lot of traffic on this road. It wasn't due to drama. It was just real life issues that certain modders on the team had to deal with. And throughout all that, we lost our main weather developer, which, considering the scope of the mod that we were wanting to make, there was a huge workload. So the plan was we wanted to touch every single interior in the game and adjust the lighting to better match the horror aesthetic. And we were doing pretty good on that. There was a couple of streams that I released of me working on a couple of interiors. And then Jaws, the developer of ELE, Enhanced Lighting and Effects, for both Skyrim and Fallout 4. He was and still is on the Pilgrim team. He and I, God, this traffic's loud. He and I were doing a lot of work on interior lighting already, and when we lost our weather developer, that was another huge workload that we essentially had to build weather from scratch. The reason Pilgrim 1 was so much simpler is because when Lou did the weather for that, it was essentially him just tweaking his already made weather from natural and atmospheric Commonwealth. There wasn't a ton of work that needed to be done. He already had a really good, strong base to work from. We didn't have any of that. We were starting from scratch. And when the original weather developer left, couldn't get in contact with him to get his permission to continue using his work. And that's one thing that I'm not going to play with, is dealing with like some kind of drama from somebody who claims that I stole something when that never happened. I've been there and I bought the t-shirt. I've had to deal with that crap, and I wasn't going to do that again. So we essentially lost a huge portion of the work that was done on Pilgrim 2. And that was a huge setback, and it was really depressing. And then my other friend who was working on me with, was working with me on the E&B code, personal situation struck him, and suddenly he was he was in a really difficult situation concerning his internet connection and even where he laid his head at night. So things got really rough for multiple members of the team. And then, this October, I found out my dad had colon cancer. And all of this just combined into like this perfect storm of, I don't think I'm going to do this anymore. And yes, that effectively means that everything I was working on, unless something changes, which, I don't know. I can't tell you I know the future. I can't even tell you my mind's not going to change. But right now I'm pretty solid on this, and I don't think that I'm going to be coming back in any official capacity. So this is me just saying it's been fun until it wasn't. And yeah, I'm kind of done. So thanks to those of you who are kind, and to those of you who enjoyed the things that I enjoyed working on. And, to those of you who were pure cancer in the community, and you know who you are, yeah, you're the reason why people don't like to stick around very long. Anyway, the bus, as you can see here, is on its way. So I'm going to pick up my little kid and I'm going to walk back home. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Watching the video. Talk to you later.